Hello, everybody. Welcome back again at Checkride Chat. Again, my name is Wally,
I'm Jason.
and we're going to have a little spattering of different things today. We're going to talk, first of all, a couple of comments about the last video. Thank you for all the comments. I think after maybe about 4 or 5 videos about the whole fuel thing, about maybe not topping off, I think maybe some people are understanding what we're trying to say. And again, we're not trying to tell you not to top off. If you can top off, yeah, go for it. But there might be situations where topping off is not appropriate. But anyway, a lot of positive comments on that, and thank you for those. And the other one that we talked about in one of the previous videos is the proposed changes for examiners.
What we can and can't do,
Right.
or what they want us to
Right.
have done before we do something.
Right now, the requirement for us to administer a multi-engine check ride, we must have 5 hours of pilot and command time in that type of airplane. And there is a proposal to make that requirement go for single-engine airplanes right now. Right now, we are not required to have 5 hours of pilot and command time in a single-engine airplane. I have a young man that is sitting down in the lobby right now of this FBO that I'm giving a check ride to in about an hour. Who was in a Diamond DA-40. Okay, and I have 0 pilot and command time in a DA-40. So if this change goes through, he would not be taking a check ride today.
Well, it doesn't mean to say you haven't flown
Right,
in a DA-40,
right.
but as examiners, all our check rides, those are evaluations.
Yes.
That is not, we are not the PIC.
Right.
That is not flight time we can log.
Right.
So I'm sure you've been in them.
Yes.
Multiple.
Yes.
I'm sure you're familiar with them.
Very familiar with them.
But legally, no PIC time.
No PIC time. So I would not be administering this check ride to this young man today. Now, a lot of you have written in and said, "Oh, you guys make so much money. Just go out and get 5 hours in the airplane." Could we do that? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if this flight school would let me go fly their airplane.
Yeah, there's more. Yes, it's only 5 hours. It's more than a money out of our pocket thing. It is lost. It's lost time. It's time towards 100-hour that yields the school typically nothing. Does the owner want to sacrifice 5 hours?
Right.
It's running these aircraft are not. It is not cheap. So I don't think it's a money objective. I think bigger picture is people, certain airplanes, especially private airplanes, those are their babies.
Yeah.
I think there's potentially an ethical thing there. An owner I need 5 hours in a Diamond, right? And it's a private aircraft.
Right.
Well, what if the owner wants to go with me? How does that look on paper? I just flew 5 hours with an examiner 2 days before the check ride.
Yeah.
So there's multiple things that go into this. I'll say it. A single is a single. Yes, they're getting more complex. Avionics suites are typically the big one to bear.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, just like honestly, you're going through 787 training right now.
Yeah.
A Boeing is a Boeing is a Boeing.
Yeah.
A Garmin is a Garmin is a Garmin. The similarities are there. So the single, aerodynamically, a single is a single. I agree with the multi aspect where you need 5 hours in a multi.
Yeah.
Number one, there's far less multis, especially from a training regimen standpoint. But a multi, you do something wrong in a multi, yeah, I think you need familiarization because that'll come back and bite you pretty quick.
Yeah.
So
I met a gentleman a couple of weeks ago at the fuel pumps at a local airport. We were fueling and moving our airplane out of the way, and they were coming in to fuel in a Cardinal. And I didn't know the gentleman, but I knew the CFI. The CFI introduced me to him. He said, "This is whatever, I don't remember the guy's name, but this is so-and-so. He'll be contacting you in about 6 weeks for a check ride." And, you know, I looked in his airplane. It's a 6-pack Cessna 177 Cardinal. with a Garmin 430. I'm extremely familiar with it. And again, I've got 0 pilot command time in a Cardinal.
So Cardinal's a 172 on steroids, basically.
Right. And so for me to, if the rule goes through, which we're probably a long ways from the rule going through, if it even goes through.
That's the other thing. It's an if.
Right.
Small word, very, very big meaning.
Right. And so I would not be able to administer this flight test under the proposed rule. So how do we mitigate that? Okay, does the guy just hand me the keys to his airplane? I probably don't meet the insurance requirements. So
that's another thing that goes into.
So
you probably do, but there's more than this is a very dynamic. There's a lot of stuff that goes into take the plane.
Yeah.
Right. It is what it is. But again, I think the whole purpose of this is these are proposed changes. All we're doing is bringing it to your attention, just to be on the lookout.
And we're just telling you about it. We're not saying we're against it. There's some validity to it. There really is, but it is going to cause maybe a logjam in the whole system. Anyway, so enough about that. We'll move on to other things. So we are working on, and the next few episodes, we're going to have kind of an airspace lesson, if you will.
We're going to try to expand. Maybe we'll teach.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
One, we'll do a whole thing on airspace. I teach airspace. Everybody I think knows the little triangle thing with the pictures of clouds and this and that and all the that drives me. I can't read that. I don't really understand that. So I'll give you my 2 cents and I'll try to teach you airspace, how I learned it, how I know it, with some examples. That's in episodes to come. So hopefully that is something you guys want to see. And then put it this way, nobody's ever missed airspace questions if you learn it, I guess you could say, the correct way.
Right.
And the correct way is there is a little bit of rote memorization to it because you need to know what it is, but it's the application and correlation that really, that's where the light bulbs go off.
Right.
So we'll give you some examples to kind of prove those points and dimensions, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and I don't. If you're sitting there going, geez, which one was this? And you pull out the book and you can find the answer. I don't have a problem with that at all. You pull out the book enough and look it up, you're going to learn how to get there. It's just like I use the example of you move into a new house. You probably need to put the directions to your house in your GPS or your phone to figure out how to get to your house. Well, maybe the first time you do it, the second time you do it, the third time you still do it, but then you realize that I don't
need this anymore.
Yeah, you eventually learn how to get there. So same kind of thing with airspace. If you look it up enough, you're going to learn it, and that's a good thing.
Correct.
That's a good thing. So we're going to talk about today. We're going to dive into airport information on a sectional. What I do with my cross countries as we're sitting in the briefing, and I'll be doing this in about an hour with a young man. We're going from here to there, and I'll pick an airport in the middle, somewhere in the middle. I'll say, hey, we both really need to go use the restroom. We're going to divert. I'll say, tell me about this airport right here. I won't say tell me about it. I will ask specific questions. First thing I'll do is I'll say, okay, let's pull up the weather for this airport. And the weather is clouds are this, temperature is this, altimeter, winds, all that. And I'll say, okay, what runway? We'll look at the box on the sectional, and I'll ask, tell me the runway length. And
what runway can you expect to use?
Right. What would we expect? And it might be a controlled airport. It may be a non-towered airport. So I'm trying to use non-towered rather than non-controlled. That's
towered and non-towered.
Towered and non-towered.
Yep.
Back in the day, it was controlled and uncontrolled.
Correct.
So towered and non-towered. So try. it takes a lot to teach an old dog new tricks. But anyway, by and large, when you ask what the runway length is at so-and-so airport, what does the applicant usually do?
Field elevation.
Right.
They'll mix field elevation and runway length. They'll say that doesn't sound right because they'll say the runway length is 2,189 feet.
Right.
And then they'll say the elevation is 50.
Right.
And then they're like, hold on, I'm in Colorado.
Right.
And then it's
Right.
the reverse.
Right.
But then what I also find is it's staring at them in their face, but they'll push and hold on their iPads, on their ForeFlight, to read about the airport information.
Yes.
So it's fine, but again, going back to the airspace parallel, if you just learn it, it's much quicker just to say this. So on Wally's question, tell me about the weather. Yes, you're going to have to push and hold and pull the weather. If we're in flight, tell me about this. What's the weather? You can pull the ATIS, the AWOS, the ASOS. If you have ADSB in, or if you have a Sentry on your ForeFlight giving you the ADSB info, you can pull weather for any airport you want. So if the wind is 330 and you look at an airport diagram and there's a straight up and down line, well, that runway is a northern and southern runway.
Yeah.
You can expect to at least, quote unquote, land north.
Yeah.
Right? I get you want the runway number. We can get to that later. But again, this is all kind of ballparking, especially in a divert. I'm 10 miles inbound for the north runway. It may not be exact, but everybody knows what you're planning on.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we're in an emergency type situation, say we're landing north. Yeah.
So we have a couple examples. So we're going to try to speak slowly so we can read, and then we're going to have the overlays in just a second. But first airport was San Antonio. So let's type him in or go to it.
Okay.
So San Antonio, KSAT.
All right.
West.
All right.
There you go.
Where we go.
All right. So tell me about San Antonio. So it's right in front of you. Number one, what airspace is it? So again, there'll be the airspace stuff later. So San Antonio to me looks like Charlie.
Airspace.
What do we need to go into Charlie?
Right. We need to be talking to
we
somebody.
need two-way communications. We need a mode C. We need ADSB.
Right.
So that's what we need. So if I zoom in on San Antonio International, identifier is Sierra Alpha Tango. CT is control tower. Control tower frequency is 19.8. ATIS is 18.9. There's my 809. That is field elevation. There's an L. That is lighting exists at that airport. Notice there's no asterisks there. Notice what also is not there next to the control tower. There's no star.
Right.
So the star and the asterisk almost correlate. The asterisk means go to the supplement, but if you had an asterisk, it would simply mean pilot control lighting.
Yeah.
But in this case, pilot control lighting does not exist because that tower is 24 hour. Longest runway is 8.5, so 8,500 feet. And this is always a fun one. What, Wally, what is 2295?
That would be Unicom.
What, you mean it's not ground?
No.
Or
not
approach?
Ground, not ground
Really?
or approach.
Oh, okay. I hear that all the time. So now the follow-on question is, what is Unicom used for?
That's you're basically, in this case, you were probably talking to one of the FBOs.
Yeah,
And
so-
San Antonio has a bunch of FBOs.
So I bet you all those FBOs will have two radios on the desk. One will be monitoring 2295, and the other one will be monitoring if you pull up the AFD or if you go read about the FBOs, they probably have a discrete frequency for their own FBOs.
Right.
But the point is Unicom, it's basically for ground information. What FBOs are there? It could be a multitude of things, but it's typically what can I do on the ground.
Yeah.
So
Let me go back to that L and the 85. A lot of people will tell me that the L stands for longest runway.
Oh.
And it's not. I mean, that 85 is the length of the longest runway, but that's not what the L stands for. It's totally different. The L stands for lighting. So That's a little bit of confusion, but not a huge deal. Something very basic, the name of the airport. If you go into a non-towered airport, you really should call when you're calling on CTAF, Common Traffic Advisory Frequency, you should use the printed name of the airport. We've got an airport up north of here in Lufkin, Texas. Lufkin is the name of the town.
It's Angelina County.
The name of the airport is Angelina County. I think back in the day, I think it used to be called Lufkin, and so a lot of times you'll hear people on CTAF saying Lufkin traffic.
That old
Denver,
dog, new tricks.
Out in Denver,
Yeah.
you hear Colorado Air and Spaceport, and
This used to be called Front Range.
Front Range, and the old dogs call it Front Range.
Front Range, and then
Yeah.
Rocky Mountain used to be called Jeffco.
Yeah,
When I started flying heavy back into GA, Conroe, the airport we're both based at, used to be non-towered,
Right.
uncontrolled, right? And I came in and I called it Montgomery County Tower.
yeah,
And the tower guys were like, "You haven't been here in a while, have you?" And it changed names 4
Yeah.
times since
Yeah.
then, something like that.
yeah.
So, but it happens. All right, so that's San Antonio. Very, very, and that's that. If I want more, or if you need more, yes, you have to go into the supplement. That's the only way you're going to find more info.
Yeah.
So let's try. Let's go in non-towered. Type in KWWR. Enter. All right. So this is West Woodward. I don't know what state that is, but we found it for some interesting stuff. So that is West Woodward. What kind of airspace is that? It's kind of 2.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So again, I'll discuss that. I'll teach it later. But that's going to be Golf to 700, and then Echo 700 all the way up until Alpha, which is at 18.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a second. But it's West Woodward, WWR. AWAS is on 18,425.
Which is your weather.
That's your weather. 2189. That is your field elevation. Hey, look, there's my asterisk L. So that is pilot controlled lighting.
Right.
Longest runway is 5,500. So if you're looking at it, there's 2 runways there. Which one do you think is the long one?
I'm guessing the north-south runway.
Maybe the longer looking one,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So 5,500 feet, and then there's 22.8 with a little C. It doesn't say CT. You just told me it was Golf and Echo, meaning there's no tower, right?
Right.
So C is CTAF.
Right.
I always ask, what does CTAF stand for? And this is not to insult anybody's intelligence, but you'd be amazed at the answers that we probably both hear.
Yeah.
And if you're scratching your head right now, oh man, nobody's ever asked me that. It's Common Traffic Advisory Frequency.
Yeah.
What do you think that RP23 means?
Okay, well, 23. Looks like there might be a new runway 23, and then.
Do you think it's 23? Do you think it's that north-south runway?
No.
No, I don't think so.
It's the little nub
It's
over
the
there,
itty-bitty runway.
and that stands for right pattern.
So on runway 23, that is right pattern. So what direction is 2? Why do you think it's right pattern?
there's something south of that runway that they don't want you flying over.
Potential, or they just don't want you flying over the long runway.
Yeah.
It's to keep you not crisscrossing
Yeah.
potentially the bigger runway.
Yeah.
Maybe the bigger runway has an approach.
Yeah.
Right? And they
Yeah.
just don't want you anywhere near that type
Yeah.
thing. I don't know, but all we know is right pattern 2-3.
Right.
So let's go.
While
what else?
we're
Yeah,
there,
keep
while we're
going.
there, let's just stay
Go.
there. And again, if you're looking at the airport depiction, you can see the notches at 3, 6, and 9 o'clock. That tells you that the airport has some sort of services, maybe just fuel or whatever. But if you're going to make a fuel stop, you want something with the notches. And
We said this on an earlier one. It's a different world now. This is just a phone call away. So call them.
Yeah.
Is your fuel working?
Yeah.
Hopefully, if it's not, they're good, and it's all airport managers and things like that. That should be actually, if your fuel is in-op, it should, in theory, be noted.
Right.
But stuff happens, you never know. Luckily, zooming out at Woodward, there's 2 airports either side of Woodward that do not have services. So if you're planning on going into Woodward, the next one is about, what is that? The next one's literally about 50 miles away for the closest airport that has next services.
Yeah.
So it's little things to kind of consider. There's airports. Not every airport has fuel. Not every airport has services. So be cognizant when you're picking.
Do I want to land at Woodward with 40 minutes worth of fuel left in my tanks? Probably not. Probably not a good idea, because your plan B is non-existent.
Correct. Next one.
All right. What was the next one?
CFO.
Okay.
Front range.
Yeah.
Front range is now Colorado Air and Spaceport. So this is a little bit different. This is where it kind of gets a little fun. So Colorado Air and Spaceport, CFO is the identifier. I have a CT-20.2. Control tower, 20.2. There's a star right next to that. And then there's a C right next to that. So the star is part-time tower, right? And the C is CTAF. So the CTAF frequency is 20.2 when the control tower is not in use. ATIS is 19025. 5515 is field elevation. There is your asterisk L, that's pilot controlled lighting. Of course, you can always refer to the supplement, but that's always pilot controlled lighting. Longest runway, 8,000 feet, 2295. There's my Unicom again.
Yep.
And I know for a fact there's only one FBO at this, I almost said this hotel, at this airport, only one FBO at this airport, so they're going to be monitoring 2295.
Yeah.
Hey, is my rental car ready? Hey, is the fuel working? Where is the fuel? You should look at that too. But go from there. Right pattern, RP8 and RP35. So right pattern 8 and right pattern 35. So I'll tell you right now why it's right pattern on runway 8.
The big airport.
Because Bravo is
big airport.
Reach out and touch it.
Yeah.
It is right there.
Yeah.
So they want you doing nothing on runway 8 on that one.
They really don't want you north or west of this airport.
Correct.
So I say south, and east.
So, so that's that.
And the color of the airport. The color of the airport is blue.
Blue.
Towered airport.
Blue is always a towered airport. So that's a good one. Blue is so that's class Delta, right? And it's blue. So circle back very, very quickly to KSAT. That airport is blue in the middle, right? But it has magenta circles around it. So yeah, it's a class Charlie. You know it's a towered airport. That's depicted with the blue.
Right.
So don't think blue is Bravo. And we've heard that also.
Oh yeah.
One more, KDWH. This is a fun one. Hooks Airport, David Wayne Hooks Memorial Airport. So that is a class Delta. I will ask, tell me about that class Delta. They'll say it goes to 2,000 feet. And I said, no, it does not. So airspace, and again, we'll teach that in another episode, but airspace, no two airspaces can go exactly at the same height.
Right.
The one airspace always overlaps the other. So in this case, Hooks goes from surface to 1999, and then Bravo, if we zoom out, you can see it sits underneath Bravo. Bravo starts right at 2.
Right,
Hooks,
and that's what that minus 2
That's
zeros.
what the minus means. It's non-inclusive 2,
Right.
so 1999.
Right.
So if you're looking at Hooks, there's an anchor there.
Yeah.
What do you think that is? There's an anchor.
That sounds like a boat to me.
A boat. Where do boats go?
Oh, they go in the water.
On water.
Right.
Do we care about boats in an airport? No. But there could be a seaplane,
Yes.
so that's where I got my seaplane rating.
Yeah.
So there's a tiny seaplane base there. So what does a seaplane land on? Yes, I get it. Amphibs can go on a normal runway, but seaplanes typically land in the water.
I got mine in Alaska, by the way. I'm a real man.
You
Yeah.
clearly are.
Yeah.
I did mine during COVID. So.
Okay. All right.
So Hooks, David Wayne Hooks, DWH. Control tower, 18.4. There's a star. We know it's part-time. There's CTAF. That means 18.4 becomes a CTAF. There's another 27.4 with a star. That is on the same line as that control tower. 27.4 is another control tower.
Yeah.
And just from local knowledge, which I don't believe they've done this in a long time, they used to split Hooks Airport into 2 runways. So one tower would control the big runway, one tower controlled the little runway, because it was so much flight training, and they just did endless circles like this for the pattern work, right?
Yeah.
So, but you would never use 27.4 as CTAF.
Right.
CTAF is always 18.4.
Right.
8 is 26, I can't read, 26,375. Now, this is where it gets fun. 152, the asterisk L, 7,000. So field elevation is 152. Pilot controlled lighting, longest runway is 7,000. What on earth is 138.25?
I believe, I'm not 100%
very
sure.
similar to something, the line right above it.
I'm going to say it has to do with the water runway.
Yes. So notice there's no L on that line.
Right.
Because the runway, you're not landing on that thing at night. So 138 is the field elevation of the water runway, and that water runway is 2,500 feet long.
Wouldn't that be the water elevation? Not
Yeah.
The field elevation?
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
That's what I had in my head. That may not have come out correctly.
That's the height of the water. You're going to be on the water at
138 feet, because
yeah.
it's a little down, right?
Yeah.
So height of the water is 138 feet. Longest, or not longest, the water runway is 2,500 feet long.
Yeah.
2295, there's your Unicom again.
Yep.
And here's something, RP35R 35W. Is that right pattern, 35 right and 35 west?
Yeah, I think so. Is
Yeah,
it 35 west?
We have west and east runways, right?
Yeah.
No,
we do not. We do not. That's water. That's
right
35
pattern,
water.
Right pattern 35 right, right pattern 35 water. So sometimes just go find odd stuff and look it up and maybe think about it just for a half a second.
Yeah.
What was I going to say about that?
What's that flag mean? There's a flag on the airport.
Well, that's the windsock, right?
Yeah, it is. It's on that side of the airport, right?
Yeah.
No. That's the VFR reporting point.
So you can use that instead of giving direction and mileage. You can just say where you are.
Yeah.
So on that note, flipping back to, let's use San Antonio. This is actually a Checkride question. So zooming in. We are over Castroville.
Southwest of San Antonio.
Southwest of San Antonio. There is a flag there.
Yes.
We're over Castroville at, say, 5,000 feet. I'm inbound to San Antonio International Airport. I will ask, what airspace is San Antonio? What do we need? Et cetera, et cetera. And I said, okay, I'm San Antonio. You're over Castroville, 5,000 feet. Give me a call. Call me up on the radio. Who are you? Where are you? What do you say? Et cetera.
Right.
And this is where that Unicom, I'm going to call up 2295.
Yeah.
No. So I'm going to call up Tower. No. Then they'll long hold the airport to bring up the identifier, right? Just to figure out frequencies. I can't fault you for that, but there's a much simpler answer to this. There's a reason I told you you're over Castroville. I'm almost giving you the answer just to see if you can apply it. So just on top of Castroville, A, you see the flag. B, do you see the white box surrounded in magenta?
Contact
yes,
San
everybody
Antonio
can
approach.
see it, right? Contact San Antonio approach within 20 nautical miles on 1805 or 353.5. So, I'm going to contact approach on 1805. That is exactly correct. So there's your approach.
Yeah.
Then they're going to say Cessna 1234. I'm approximately, and they'll do their little finger thing on their iPad. They're going to figure out it's about 20 something miles. And I say, what's that little flag? And they go, it's a VFR checkpoint. Could we not just say Cessna 12345 over Castroville, 5,000 feet inbound with Beta Charlie?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's in all the takeaway on this, know where the answers are if you're unsure. If that is what you have to do for a push long hold and pull up the airport diagram and all the info and ForeFlight, so be it, right? But if you learn it, I can't say the right way, but probably the quick way, the answers typically are right in front of you. You simply just have to know what it is. Go back to the white box. What is that 353.5?
That's something that we don't care about. That's UHF.
So that's military,
militaries.
right? So the radios in our aircraft are VHF, very high frequency. We run on VHF radios. The military they probably have both, but the military typically runs on UHF, ultra high frequency, right? So if you see and tangent that over, go find a VOR. They're going to have a nav frequency, and they're going to have another frequency that the military uses. They're going to have what's called channels on a VOR. We don't have that. So if you've never seen it before, chances are you're never going to see it again because you're not in the military.
Right.
But just these are the types of things where it shouldn't take all this long. Just know what you're looking for on your sectional, on your ForeFlight. The answer is not always push and long hold and run it together.
Yeah, and you might ask, why do I need to tell approach approximately where I am? Well, a lot of times, like San Antonio approach probably has multiple approach control frequencies.
Yeah, very
busy.
busy.
It's a pretty big city. So the controllers want to make sure you're in their correct airspace. If you call up on whatever frequency and you say, hey, I'm over Castroville, he may say, well, you're not in my airspace, but you're you're on 135.2, contact approach on 135.2. With the advent of ADSB, things are changing. A lot of times when you call up now, they already know where you are. They're looking at you. They're watching you.
They're waiting
come in.
for you to call.
And they're expecting your call because they see you on ADSB. So we're kind of in a transition in the way we do business with a lot of this stuff, and with all the changes going to happen with the airspace. Who knows what's going to happen with the technology? Anyway, anything else for today?
No, it's little things. Learn it, know what it means. What are you looking at? You should. There's the should and the shall from the previous video.
Yeah.
You should be able to just look at a sectional and just tell me very basically about an airport. You should not have to reference the internals on what your tower frequency is and things like that.
Right.
It's like emergency checklists. It's let's close with this. They'll give a departure briefing for the multi-engine Checkride, right? For if we have an engine failure on the runway, we're going to do this. If we're shortly after takeoff, we're going to do this. Right after takeoff, we're going to do this. And what the guy's reading it.
Yeah.
He's reading it on the checklist.
Yeah.
So you're telling me you have an engine failure at 50 feet. You're going to go, hold on, let me get my checklist.
Yeah.
And let me read step by step.
Yeah.
Certain things, I hate to say it, you should just be able to do and recite.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't have to reference everything.
Well, I had a gentleman yesterday, I said, let's say we're starting the engine, and while starting the engine, you see flames coming out from underneath the cowling. What are you going to do? And he said, I'm going to pull out my engine fire on the ground checklist. And I said, okay, let's do that. And I started the timer. And he dug around in his bag and he got his checklist out, and he got it fairly quickly, but it was about 20 seconds. And so he told me, he went through the checklist and everything. I said, yeah, that's right. That, I'm not going to argue with that. But in practicality, don't we just need to know basically what to do? Get the fuel off and continue cranking.
Correct.
That's probably going to work in every airplane, whether it's mixture or fuel switch or whatever.
It sounds weird, but sometimes you just got to be a pilot.
Yeah.
Right. It's just it's go.
Yeah.
But anyway, hopefully that kind of helps. Hopefully the couple examples were good and they relay stuff. Oh, let's close on this. So a Checkride a couple days ago, not too long ago, he picked an airport to go into on his cross country, right? And he picked, I think it was Texarkana. And I go, great, Texarkana, good airport. I've been there. It's great, nice. What FBO are we going to? And his actual response was, that's a great question. So if you're, especially in a Checkride, you guys are the ones picking the airports.
Yeah.
Do a little bit of research.
Yeah.
What runway I can expect to land here?
Yeah.
There's 5 FBOs. I'll pick the one maybe closest to me. Or I'm going to taxi to the one 8 miles away because your gas is $1.
Yeah.
Right? It's not just I'm going to go here. Once you're there, what are you going to do on the ground?
Right.
So keep that in your head. You are being trained to be a pilot.
Yeah.
That enables you to fly your November registered aircraft, not just anywhere in your city, not just anywhere in your state, not just anywhere in the U.S. That is, in theory, anywhere in the world. You need to know how to function in the airspace. This is not always 50-mile trips this is the only airport I ever go to. And that's the correlation and application that we're kind of looking for.
I don't think any flight school, when you walk in the door, says you don't have to use common sense anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So we need to think, and that's what we're trying to get you to do. And the whole fuel debacle that we had weeks ago or just last week, I mean, it got people talking. It got people thinking.
And that's the takeaway.
That's what we
the
want
ultimate
to do.
takeaway.
That's what we want to do, is make you think. You may not agree with, a lot of stuff that we say is our opinion. You don't have to agree with us, and that's fine. We respect your opinion. So,
as long as you have a reason for that opinion, that's all we're looking for. You just have to explain why.
Yeah. All right, so that's it for today. We are closing in on 1,000 YouTube subscribers. So if you're not a subscriber, if you do us a favor and just hit that subscribe button on YouTube, we're coming around the corner on 1,000 subscribers. I guess it's a big deal. I keep getting these emails from YouTube saying you're close. So I don't know what happens.
Tell your friends. Tell your friends.
Yeah. So that's it for today. Hit like and subscribe and all that stuff, and we'll see you next time.
See y'all.